So we've done the best training schedules, we're now going to be doing the best set pieces, corners, free kicks and throw-ins, also showing you what they look like inside of the game. If you do enjoy these sort of tutorial videos on the channel alongside all my other content, please do consider leaving a like, dropping a little subscription and hit that notification bell. This way you're never going to miss another upload on the channel. So the first thing we're going to go over is going to be the corners. Now this is in my opinion the hardest one to get right, especially the defending side, because attacking side of the game, a lot of people know how to sort of set it up, but I personally believe I perfected that. But in terms of the defensive side, it can get a little bit confusing where to put players, so I'm simply going to go over every single role that we are going to be covering, and you guys can copy it click for click because this really does work. So obviously the corner is going to be coming in from the right hand side on this occasion. Just to clarify, this is the defensive side of things. We're actually going to have the AML on close down the corner. Now I always like having one person closing down the corner because it prevents that option of them going short and then obviously progressing it either from this area here to get a cross in directly, or to even play it here and have a crack at goal. So I do think it's a real good thing to have on, that close down more option. We then go for one of the centre halves, obviously on this occasion the right centre half, and he is going to be told to zonally mark the near post. Now in my opinion, you obviously do want someone to, there is a lot of zonal marking going on for starters, it works really well within this game, but having someone that is going to be doing that is a great shout and it really does help. We then go over to this player here who is going to be the right back, and he is going to be told to mark the near post, and you've got to see why we've got a player marking that near post when we talk about the attacking side of corners. It's very important to protect that near post. Next to him, we have one of the midfield players, in this scenario, Jordan Henderson, and he's going to be zonally marking the 6-yard centre. Now, what I'm going to say here is you can sort of, you know, depends on the players you've got in that midfield, you might even want to drag a defender to do this, but, you know, a player like Jordan Henderson's a good height, he'll do a job, and to be fair, it usually gets prevented, the ball usually gets intercepted before it even gets to him, to be honest with you. So in this scenario, it works really well. We then go over to an MCR, which obviously in this scenario is going to be Thiago, and he is going to be marking the far cross. Now, essentially, what this means is we have got every aspect of the goal covered. We've got the near post covered, we've got the short option covered, we've got everything covered, realistically. There's nowhere to go. And with this tactic, we rarely concede the corner. Don't get me wrong, you are going to concede the odd goal here or there, because sometimes the opposition is literally too strong, but majority of the corners that come into the box we dealt with very easily. But then go over to, in this scenario, Robertson, and he is going to be told to play a mark alongside of Van Dijk, who's going to mark a tall player. Obviously Van Dijk, tall and strong player, you want him marking a tall and strong player. It makes sense. We then go with the sort of players that are going to be on the counter. So we're going to have Mo Salah on edge of the area alongside of McAllister, who's also on the edge of the area. Now, some people do favour to have one more player defensively. So, for example, a player here. But in my opinion, having 2 players ready for the counter on this scenario, and also this striker who is going to be told to stay forward, is the best way to go about it, because you've got 3 players that are ready for that counter. This player here is still technically in the box, so any loose balls, if, you know, for example, there's a knockdown, he's going to be ready for. Obviously, this player here slightly more on the edge, and 1 player ready to hit on the counter attack, which is very, very important. Now, in terms of the left-hand side, guys, we have literally done exactly the same, so I'm not going to cover over it again because it is literally the same roles in the same areas, just literally flipped. As you can imagine, corners getting taken in from the left-hand side now, so all you want to do is simply reverse the roles the other way round, so you're playing the same, because in my opinion, this is genuinely the best way to defend those corners. And as you can see, a few things change. Obviously, now it's obviously going to be the left-sided player who's going to be marking the near post, but everything remains exactly the same. Still got those 3 players here ready to break for those counter-attacks. And this is one area of the game, by the way, like, I really feel like FM needs a new set-piece screen, because it doesn't look the most attractive, does it, if we're being honest? And I'd love there to be a little button, you know, somewhere up here or somewhere down here, anywhere on the screen, I don't mind, where you can test it, so you can see a ball getting played and how your players actually look. I know it's quite a lot to ask for, but anybody that's got links to FM, anyone that makes it, please do consider it, because it would be a really good idea. Now, over to the attacking side, you can probably imagine what the strategy is going to be. Now, we are going to kick things off by instantly just showing you what this looks like inside of a game. So this is going to be the first highlight I'm going to show you. This is going to be the corner. So you can see we've got a player coming short here in the likes of Jota, which, to be honest, doesn't always get used. It's more of a distraction. But I want you to watch the movement of Joel Matip. Now, this is by far the most meta thing to do in FM23. It is attack the near post, and I just want you to, we're going to watch it very slowly. In fact, we're going to slow this down so you can see how easy it is for him. But obviously Trent sees him there, he already starts to move. Now at the moment he's behind, I believe, I can't even click on that player, he's going to be you know, it's Leon Bailey. It's going to be a very easy header to win. Trent whips the ball in directly at the near post. You can see how close that is towards the goal. But João Matip here absolutely powerhouses his way past a very easy target and tucks it in the near post. And this method works so well. You've got to see here, we scored a goal in the 15th minute from doing this. We then go back to the 32nd minute from the same side. Now, this does work the other way around as well. Again, we're going to be seeing Diego Jota come very close. Bailey now, obviously, they've done a little bit of adjusting. He is the man that's going to be sort of marking the short option. Now, what they don't understand here is they've set up quite well here. They've got Carlos, they've obviously got Pau Torres, their new man, but they've got Coutinho directly on Matip. And what happens is the ball gets played in. He starts his run. At the moment, that ball is going to land just in this lovely spot here. Coutinho is obviously not going to be able to compete, and it does there, and just about he gets his head to it. To be fair, one of them did try and help out. I believe that was Carlos, but simply hitting it at the near post results in a goal so much of the time. And that is why we do favour to attack that near post, because it does work really well. So we are going to have a player here told to come short. We are also going to have one of the centre-backs, the right-sided one, on attack the near post. And also sometimes what happens is either the ball gets played way over that near post option or it gets flicked on from the near post player, and that is why we do also have a striker attacking the far post. So anywhere on that goal is going to have a player attacking it, and it's so hard for a team to defend against the entire lot. In terms of the two in the middle, we're going to have an AML on mark keeper, because that way it takes the keeper out of the game. A lot of pressure gets put on the keeper, and just behind him we're going to have an AMC who is going to be on go forward. So there are a lot of instructions on the screen. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you how you can download this at the end of the video, but trust me, this is a real good sort of way to get your corners going, and it gets everybody involved. And talking about getting people involved, we're going to have Thiago, which is going to be the MCR, obviously lurking outside of the area. Now, some of your roles are going to look different if you're using a different formation, but essentially you can gather the sort of logic behind it. You can tell where it's a midfield player, where it's a winger, where it's a centre back, and you simply place your players in the same areas. We then have a central midfielder on stay back if needed, a very good option because I don't like to overcommit all the time when it comes to these corners, and 3 players on stay back, which is going to be Robertson, also Van Dijk, and also going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold. And now in terms of the right hand side, guys, it is literally exactly the same. So I'm a big fan of keeping the set pieces the same. Obviously that doesn't mean you can't make multiple variations, so you could, you know, go into one game with a slightly different layout, but this, especially the attacking variant, I like to keep it the way it is because it's so overpowered. Near post has been a thing now on this game which has worked pretty much since day one, and majority of the videos you're going to see are going to feature a near post option. But what I really like about this one is the fact you do have the near post option, but also if it does get put back post, you've obviously got a striker here in the likes of Darwin Núñez in my scenario attacking the far post. You've got a player that is applying a lot of pressure to the goalkeeper. You've got a couple options on the edge, but also you've got enough players back here to defend any counter-attacks. Now over to defending the free kicks, and we're going to start off by defending right-hand-sided free kicks. As you can see, this is going to be where the free kick is going to be coming from, and we have got a lot of players back. We'll just say that. We actually got to start from sort of forward to backwards on this occasion, because there's a lot more to talk about as we go backwards. So we're going to keep one player on going forward, which obviously is going to be on stay forward, and I think it's important to do that because you always want just literally one player ready to break at that back line, because say the player here, for example, let's just say, I don't know, Dele Alli, I don't know why that has come to mind, how that name has come to mind, I don't know. Say he puts a free kick in the box, for example, and it instantly hits the first man, and one of these players pick it up, we can instantly get a counter-attack going very easily. Next to him, or slightly below him, we're going to have a form wall option with Mo Salah. That's also going to be the same with Jordan Henderson, and also the same with Luis Diaz. So we've got 3 players forming a wall. In my opinion, that's enough options. It's also quite handy having them 3 people in that scenario, because if you do win the ball back very easily, them 3 players sort of, instead of being like that, when we win the ball back, they branch out, and you have got an incredible counter-attack. You've got a counter-attack potential of 4 here. We then go over to the AMC, and he is going to be told to be on the edge of the area, basically. Again, a player who's going to be slightly more deeper than the mark or the sort of wall option, but is ready to, again, hit on the counter-attack and lurk inside of that box. But realistically, guys, the most important players are the ones going to be doing the real core defending, and that is going to be The right back is going to be on go back. We're also going to have a midfield player, which is the MCR on go back. We're going to have the left back on player mark. Very important you get some player marks in this system. One of the centre backs as well, in this scenario, the left-handed sided one is going to be on player mark. And also the right-handed sided one is going to be on player mark. I'm a big fan of doing this sort of mark and option because it does work really, really well. And you want to just eliminate pretty much any scenario where players have got space in the box. So having 3 players that are going to be marking, a couple players that are simply on go back, but also enough of an option to go forward to counter. This is what you want to have. Again, guys, over to the left-hand side, it is exactly the same. So I'll keep it very short. I just want to show you how it looks. So obviously you are going to have your DCR here on player mark here on the DCL. Then obviously it's literally flipped around. So you then have a player here, which is going to be on player mark, and then you also have these two, which are going to be your get back players. So it's exactly the same, 3 player marks, 2 on get back. We then have 1 player, which is going to be McAllister, who is going to be told to sort of lurk on the edge of the area. We've got 3 people form on the wall and 1 striker ready to hit that counter attack. Now over to attacking. Now I can't stress how difficult it can be to actually get sort of set pieces to work, because most of the set pieces I actually have are from direct free kick takers, actually hitting the ball in the back of the net, actually having a crack at goal. I remember having Ward-Prowse for a season and he was absolutely incredible. But there are ways you can create from set pieces as well. And this is the best I've sort of come up with. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to have a player obviously taking the free kick. Next to him, I'm going to have a stand with taker. That is going to be McAllister. Next to him, we're going to have a player that is going to be attacking the ball from the edge of the area. This is 2 really crucial roles in this free kick. In the actual box, we have 4 players, which might not seem enough, but trust me, it is enough because realistically, as I said, a lot of free kicks go in when the players actually have a crack at goal. Not that many goals actually come from sort of whipping a ball in from a free kick, in my experience at least, but I have gained some goals from playing this sort of style by doing that. So we are going to have a player attacking a near post, so you're probably getting, it is very similar vibes to that, you know, the corners basically. Near post is always quite overpowered. Obviously the far post as well is going to be a real big necessity, because then you're covering both near post and far post. They can't defend everything perfectly, so chances are you are going to get a chance at either side. We then have a striker who is going to be told to go forwards, and also one of the midfield players told to go forwards as well. But what I like about this is, and as I said, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of putting the ball in from a free kick. I'd much rather them have a crack at goal if they can hit a free kick. That is why we have got enough players staying back, because I never like to overcommit myself to a free kick. Now, obviously, if you're, I don't know, 2-1 down and you're chasing the game, it's probably good to go into the game as you're playing and possibly tell a couple of these stay back players to get into the box. But for now, going into the games, this is how I'd lay out. So we are going to have an MCL on stay back if needed, and also the right back is going to be on stay back if needed as well. Alongside of that, a lot of stay backs. These 2 are literally locked to staying back. We've got the left back and also the DCL. So we've got 2 players completely defensive, 2 players if needed, and the rest of the players somewhat involved in trying to create something. And it's going to be exactly the same for the right-hand side. Again, I'm just simply showing you because it's a lot easier actually showing you than just saying, look, guys, it's flipped. Because, you know, it's quite hard to, if you're going to copy it click for click. We've got the 2 staying back. We've got the 2 staying back if needed. We then have somebody lurking on the edge, which obviously in this scenario is going to be Mo Salah. We've got someone standing with the free kick taker, always a great distraction, and the same 4 faces in that box. Now over to throw-ins, and to be honest, I don't concede too many throw-ins, and I don't even score too many goals from throw-ins either, but nevertheless it is important to have the right set pieces in place, because you can easily concede from a set piece. If a long throw gets put in, you haven't got the right players in the right areas, it can easily get flicked on, and you can find yourself 1-0 down from a very annoying goal to concede. So we are going to kick things off with the right-hand side of things on the defensive side, and that is going to be, we'll go over this back line first. So we're going to have an MCL on zonally marked 6 yard near post, bit of a tongue twister there. We're going to have a defensive right-hand sided wing back on zonally marked 6 yard box at the near centre. We're also going to have a zonally marked 6 yard box centre for the centre half, and the left back we're going to have a zonally marked 6 yard box centre. So a lot of zonal marking going on with that back 4, a lot of words to get out as well. Hence why I say if you do want to download this, you can obviously do, which we're going to do with the training schedules as well. It is going to be in a Discord, but I will mention that towards the end of the video as well. So that is going to be your back 4. But then go over to the 4 just in front of them, or 3 and a 1 if you want to say. We're going to have the right-handed sided centre back on mark tool player. Makes so much sense to have a centre back marking the tool tall players, because traditionally centre-backs are very tall, unless your name is Martinez. We then go forward a little bit, and we're going to have McAllister, the AMC, on go back, the AMR on also go back, and the AML as well on go back. So 3 on the go back, 1 on the mark tall player. We then also have 1 player on the edge of the area. Very important, you've got 1, and I would put your most sort of creative player. So to be honest, in this scenario, even when I'm just recording this live, I possibly will replace this role here with the AMC, have the AMC on the edge, the MCR a little bit deeper, and then the striker is obviously got to be a striker on stay forwards. He can always just be up there ready for counter-attack. So it's actually quite nice and simple. And the left-hand side, guys, is going to be exactly the same, just flipped again, but I will show you so you can copy it if you wish to do so. And I do believe playing this way, guys, you've got a nice balance of easily defending these set pieces. Obviously, your throw-in is classed as a set piece. That's very obvious, but I feel like a lot of people sometimes underestimate them. I know I said I personally don't concede a lot. It's because of this. I always deploy these set piece routines in the tactic tests, in the rebuilds, wherever I am, I'm going to be using them because they defend set pieces really well. And fingers crossed, I've only conceded about 3 or 4 goals in my personal save from set pieces as a whole. Free kicks, all of that malarkey. So these are really good defensive set piece routines. You could argue possibly with the defending side of the throw-ins, you could have 1 more player sort of on the break ready, because obviously we've only got 1 up here. So I'll leave that down to you guys. If you feel like you're a bit too defensive, you could have, you know, 1 player sort of pushed up here alongside of Nunez, and then drag one of these 2 into where that MCR is. But that is a gamble, and I'll leave that up to you. Now onto the attacking side. Now I'd definitely say attacking throw-ins are a lot more sort of important in the sense of you can create something from an attack and throw in, and traditionally it doesn't come from literally lumping the ball in the box with a long throw. It comes from having options like this. So a come short option is going to be on Luis Diaz. We then also have the AMC on come short, so this is just a really good way to maintain possession. Throw it to this lad here, he can obviously play it into the AMC, and it's endless options. There's 2 players on the edge, which is why they are obviously positioned there. We've got the MCR on lurk outside of area, and also a right back on attack ball from the edge of area. Now, this does depend obviously on your right back. Can he put a good ball in? Can he have a crack at goal? If you're playing with a really low standard team and your right back is, I'll say it bluntly, absolutely dreadful, I would recommend probably having another midfielder there, because they have got a better chance of creating or having a crack at goal themselves. But in the middle is where things look a little bit interesting, as there's only going to be 3 players, and that's because although it is an important set piece, we don't want to overcommit ourselves simply because of a throw-in. So we are going to have the striker, which is going to be on attack near post, something which we are very familiar with using right now. We're going to have the AMR on go forwards, and also we're going to have a MCL on the go forward. So enough players actually in the box. We've got 2 players coming short ready to receive the ball, and obviously feed these 3 players in the box or play it to these 2 in midfield, or if they get pressurised, that is exactly why we've got these 3 players back here. We've got the left back on stay back if needed, we've got the DCL on stay back, and also the DCR on stay back. So any scenario which happens, if they get pressed high, they need to lose the ball, they could literally play it pretty much a diagonal pass down here, and one of these 3 is going to pick it up. They've got options on the edge, or they can simply pick up the ball here, run down the line, and put a ball in the box. So there's absolutely tons of options. And we replicate that exactly the same on the right hand side as well, and I would honestly roll these out, guys. It's a very, very good chance to get some stuff. Obviously, if you've got a really, say you're playing a 2 up top formation, both of your strikers are absolute units, you possibly could look to remove one of these come short players and have another sort of player attacking the back post as well. I'd probably do that. If you are playing 2 up top, both of them are really tall, I would recommend probably doing that, because you've got to score quite a few goals. I personally rarely play a 2 up top. Sometimes I do, it depends what league I'm in, but I would recommend if you're playing your basic 4-3-3, your 4-2-3-1, where you got 1 striker up top, this is definitely the best way to go. But that is going to be all of my set pieces broken down, a very long awaited video, lots of requests for them, and now they are finally here for you guys. If you've got any other tutorials you want to see, whether that be scouting, whether that be making tactics from scratch, example, please do leave a comment below, and if you have enjoyed today's video, please do consider leaving a like, dropping a subscription on the channel, and hitting that little notification bell. This way, you're never going to miss another upload. But enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.